So there's a lot of confusion sometimes in narcissistic relationships. Like, are they taking care of me or is this something else? A signature of narcissistic relationships is control of just about everything. The narrative, what people do, what people wear, finances, you name it. People in narcissistic relationships are not just psychologically constricted. People in these relationships can also feel quite practically constricted. And like all things in narcissistic relationships, there is a continuum from mild to severe. Mild control can show up as persnickety comments. Are you really wearing that? Are you going to be friends with her? Really? That restaurant? It may be in passing. There may be no demand to change or any of that, but it's lots of unwanted advice and feedbacks that you may find yourself just sometimes giving in to what they're saying just to keep life moving on, or it leaves you doubting yourself. But on the more severe end, it requires checking in. They might keep checking in on your whereabouts, so they have obsessive control over family finances, or there's coercive control where pretty much all of your autonomy is taken. And everything from comings and goings to who can come into the house to your ability to have employment outside of the house and even getting money is all control. So obviously that's at the other extreme. Now at this extreme level, it may be more clearly apparent that something is amiss, but don't assume everyone sees it. People looking from the outside in at your relationship may see a beautiful, tidy home or a nice enough lifestyle, but nobody or very few people would realize the level of control within the relationship. The sense that everything needs to be approved and that it would be too unsettling to push back on your partner. That what seems like having plenty of money or resource on the inside of the relationship, it still requires you having to ask for approval if you want to buy the more expensive organic bananas for 20 more cents, with every single cent being watched. And we see this sort of watching every cent in self-righteous narcissism. That's a pattern we see all the time. So this, though, is where it starts getting very confusing for folks. At the milder or more moderate side of control, you may even wonder, okay, so when is this control and when is this actual concern or them just kind of taking care of things? Some people might say, and I've heard this, well, when I got sick, the narcissistic person measured out my medication and made sure I didn't leave the house too soon and kept a record of my doctor's appointments and would even get mad at me when I didn't get enough sleep. That's concern, right? And all of that stuff, the medication and all of that, that would be happening in parallel with the lack of empathy, entitlement, grandiosity. Because what may seem like caregiving may also be accompanied by them saying things like how they know how to do this better than you, that you have to eat this now, you have to listen to me, you don't even know how to take care of yourself, that's why you're in this situation. So sure, the oatmeal is showing up at your bedside, but they're serving insults, minimization, and dismissiveness on the side. With time, after your illness, for example, your body might feel better and you're ready to do more things for yourself. But of course, they know better and will say, nope, you don't know what you're doing, get back in bed. And then you start to ignore your body and how you feel in lieu of their very rigidly prescribed protocol. This can show up in lots of other sort of helping or caregiving situations. The person who says they will help you with your wedding, but then they are insistent on a color palette or flowers and tell you, you don't know what you're talking about with this stuff. I know design, just shut your mouth. Or the person who helps you move and ignores your requests to put certain boxes in certain places. A situation could come up where you want to be more aware of your family's finances just because it's prudent and wise in case something happens. And so you can be a stakeholder in your family's long-term financial planning. And you're told, I'm a finance genius. I know money. You clearly don't. You just leave the numbers to me. You wouldn't even understand what I say to you. Just stay in your lane, babe. I got this. You know where I got this get ya. You may have grown up like this. A parent that was up in your face about everything. Or you perceived that if you didn't follow deeply rigid rules and order, then your parent would push back or rage or withdraw. So just giving in to their obsessive control about everything, down to your extracurricular school activities or your major, to your summer job, how you dressed, what you ate, who you were friends with, the color of your bedroom, was always there. Honestly, kids who grow up like this can start to feel incompetent in adulthood because the parent takes over everything. Trust me, when a parent does that, the story does not end well, and the control doesn't stop just because a person reaches adulthood. These parents, who may to the world seem as though they are doting, devoted, and invested parents, I promise you they will maintain that level of control well into your adulthood. And it may even envelop the next generation when you have children. But to push back on that controlling parent means that you're being ungrateful and selfish, and aren't you so lucky to have a parent that paid attention to all those details and was so devoted to you? You may experience the same pushback with a narcissistic partner. They'll say something like, I take care of everything. I make your life so easy. I can't believe you're criticizing me for this. You're so ungrateful. Or things like, at least I notice you, at least I care. Some of this may be cultural, where independence, especially for women, may not be supported. In the workplace, a controlling boss may be a boss who some people view as detail-oriented and meticulous. But from the inside, it may mean that you waste so much time doing things their way, which is a stupid way, or using antiquated procedures so that boss can feel in control. So when is it caregiving or solicitude, and when is it control that's more of a problem, or more of what we might even consider to be narcissistic control? Listen, at times, control, and I put that word in quotes because it's a tricky one, as in someone needing to step up in a crisis. Some control may be needed. Or in the case of someone who may be overwhelmed with details after a disaster or a loss, or a person who might be in terrible debt and needs guidance. But even then, full control is never optimal. It's about getting the other person who feels buried or overwhelmed to a place where they feel like they can start doing things for their own and they're a collaborative player as quickly as possible. No one is ever helped by someone just coming in and taking over and doing everything and treating the other person as though they're not functional. So control for any extended period of time is always bad. But you may be confused and think, well, maybe control is their love language. And that would be a stretch, folks. For starters, if that control is coupled with contempt, things like, I'm doing this for you because you can't, or I'm doing this because you're too dumb, you're too incapable, you're too incompetent, that's not caregiving. That's toxic control. If the control doesn't allow any room for your opinion, they have to be pink roses, and your desire for red ones is patently wrong, then that is in line with toxic control. If it feels like a mandate and requires you to ignore what feels right to you, whether that's physically, emotionally, psychologically, or ethically, then that is toxic control. The key is to realize that someone bringing you breakfast every day and then saying that you are just so incapable and sloppy and you would eat like shit if they didn't do this for you every day, then that's not caregiving. That's humiliation. A parent saying you have to play the violin and no other interest or instrument is allowable, and this is how it has to be, and you will be grateful to them and that you will you are ungrateful, though, or it's selfish or stupid for not wanting to do it, actually, that's subjugation. That's not parental concern. Or a person saying your clothes are stupid and you look dumpy and gross and wear what they, then you have to wear what they tell you to wear, that's toxic control. If a person or a family member is saying, we have to save and save and save and save, and this means sacrificing things that might actually be needed for the safety and health of your family because something came up, and so you ask to see the accounts so you can figure this out because this health intervention won't matter 30 years down the road. And they say, well, you don't understand how money works. You come from a family where you had nothing and you would probably waste it all if I showed you what we have. Folks, that's toxic control. It's a mix of gaslighting, intrusiveness, contempt. And because narcissistic folks are great at being performative, they can spin their toxic control as them being caregivers and being concerned and how generous and loving they are. But ultimately, it's a power play. And people in these situations can feel confused, wondering if you're the problem because you're not grateful. Caregiving is never supposed to be about subjugation. And while some of us feel guilty, even when we are in the presence of compassionate caregiving, someone actually taking care of us and not controlling us. That's what narcissistic abuse does to us. We always feel guilty all the time. When someone is doing stuff for you and you feel incompetent and beholden, that's toxic control, no matter how they try to spin it, as though they're being a saintly nurse for you. Nope, it is not you. And while all narcissistic relationships are controlling, control is never healthy. So be careful when you think that control and caregiving can be similar. When done right, caregiving does not involve contempt. And when caregiving does involve contempt, as helpful as that cup of tea they bring you may feel, if it does come with dismissiveness or insults or obligation, that is control. And you may need that cup of tea, but it may not be worth the psychological sting. Thanks again.